You may be considering moving to a big city, but you may want to ask yourself, which city could I move to where I could have the smoothest traffic with no interruption of public transportation at all? No buses, no trains. What big populated counties in the US, and we're going to look at the 10 most populated counties in the US, have the worst public transportation? So that means I will be picking the 10, meaning the best public transportation, meaning if you have a car, don't move to one of these places. And going down to number 1, which will have the worst public transportation, which is good, so we can drive our car around. Coming in at number 10, we have King County, New York. It's no surprise that the most populated borough of New York made the list. New York is known for having some of the best public transportation in all of America, having a extremely massive subway system, meaning this city really isn't designed for cars. Um I personally have never been to New York yet, so I couldn't tell you anything really in depth or detailed, but I've heard from people who have been there and other geographists that New York is extremely uncar friendly. Um, so yeah, don't move here if you like your car. And coming in at number 9, we have Cook County, Illinois. It's no surprise that Chicago made this list in number 9. Chicago is known for being one of the best cities in America to live in if you don't own a car. And that's horrible for us if we want to drive our car around. I will say, compared to New York, Chicago is slightly more car centric and more car friendly than New York. But do prepare if you live in the city to be stuck in traffic for a while if you have to commute in and out for work. Although you could take the metro train, which would probably get you in and out of the city much faster without having to deal with that pesky traffic and that expensive car parking, but we don't like public transportation. We only like driving our car everywhere because we can't follow those pesky train schedules because we prefer putting ourselves in a bunch of financial debt over just following a simple train schedule. But seriously, I love Chicago. It's my favorite city. Like sarcasm set aside. Coming in at number 8, and this actually is really known for having extremely I'm gonna put the transit map. Only number 8th on this list, and there's tons of traffic jams in LA. Um, do consider that just gives you an idea of what other populated counties are going to be on this list and how America really is. LA actually has better public transportation than people would note, although the way it's designed, it is extremely car centric still. But still note there are tons of light rail lines that run through the city, and the city at least still has a subway. Of course, there are cities in America that have a lot better public transportation, like San Francisco, Seattle, or Boston. But I'm going to just tell you, those cities didn't make the cut because we're basing this strictly off of populated counties and county lines. And those places they're not as populated as LA. Obviously, we talked about the three most populated cities. Um, Obviously not in order since this is by county um, order. But San Francisco didn't make the cut because it's the way it's divided the county wise. Anyways, on to the next. At number 7, and this is going to be a real surprise for some, we have Dallas County, Texas. first conservative state to make the list. Dallas is actually not that bad compared to what people say. It's not as good as the last ones that I've said, or I mean bad if we're being sarcastic. But Dallas's public transportation actually is far better than most people say it is. Um, the trains run 20 minutes, 20-minute each line. That means if you live in this the downtown area here, you can have a train come every 5 minutes if you're trying to go from, let's say, here to here. Um, Obviously, you can take it actually quite a distance. You can take it out to the suburbs, and there's also commuter rail lines, so it's actually not that bad. Again, some of the negatives is if you don't live by public transportation, you're not going to access it. Like probably any of these cities, maybe besides New York. Um, but it is possible to plan living in Dallas without a car, but that's bad for us. We don't even want the possibility of planning to live in a city where you can, if you plan where you live right, you can live without a car. We don't want that. We want in a place where people are forced to buy a car no matter where they live. That's exactly what we want, right? And coming in at number 6, we have San Diego County, California. Now, San Diego doesn't have the best public transportation, but it has quite a few light rail systems that run throughout the city, and it has commuter rail. So that's bad, right? We don't even want that. We don't want quite a few light rail lines. We only want like one or none. um, San Diego is. I've never been there, but I've just looked at the maps and I can tell that it definitely it's still it's this is a place where I'd recommend to live if you like to watch people suffer who don't own cars. Coming in at number 5, we have Miami-Dade County, Florida. Now they don't show Florida public transportation on Google Maps for some reason, but Miami-Dade has only one subway line and one commuter rail line. And what makes Miami-Dade County really good is there are and I personally live in the region, so I can tell you a lot of the metro stations have all park and rides. Some metro stations you can't even get to if you don't own a car, and that's really good for us because park and rides don't work if you know. Nobody drives the train stations. People just drive to the city and back. You know how it goes. And plus, downtown Miami is not even that big of a financial center, anyways. So barely anybody goes there. So that's even better for us. And the commuter rail that goes to Miami doesn't even connect with the downtown. You have to connect it to the metro. The metro here only has a 30-minute frequency, so that's even better. If you like watching people who don't own cars suffer, this is definitely a good city. But I will say to its adjacent county, Broward County, that did not make this list. But if we did a top 20, it would. That is a really good place to live. If you hate public transportation, you will not see any train besides the tri-rail, which is not good. But each station at least has a park and ride. That we definitely need that, and most of them have parking garages too. Even better. Coming in at number 4, we have, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, but Maricopa County, Arizona. Maricopa County, I like this place. I really don't. I've never been here, but I can just tell from looking from a map. This is not the type of city somebody who doesn't own a car would like to live in. There is only basically one light rail line. Um, I don't know much about this, so if you live in Phoenix and you actually, even though it maybe has one light rail line, it's actually quite good. I mean, let me know. But I mean, from what I can tell, there's no commuter rail, which is why it's higher on the list than Miami, which is good. I did hear there's a bus rapid transit line. Um, which is bad, but you know, bus rapid transit, it's not really that big of a deal, and Miami has that as well. But this one I did hear is better, which is worse for us. But I think from what I can tell, this is probably a good place. I mean, just look at this. Just look at that. That's great. I just all those strodes. Oh, you gotta love that. Oh, I'm liking the sound of this. Just watching those people sitting at the bus station wait forever because I have to drive my car everywhere, and um, I and I can just look down on them even though I'm financially in debt. Coming in at number 3, we have Orange County, California. Now this is where things start to get real good. Orange County does not have a light rail system. I'm going to tell you what these lines mean in a second. It doesn't have a metro. It only has a bus system and a commuter rail. Those lines are commuter rails, and from what I know about commuter rails, they're not too frequent. Orange County is a suburb of Los Angeles. It is a giant county, as you can tell here, and most of it is suburbs, which is great. This county also is snobby, so from what I know, you can watch Orange County Housewives. I mean, you'll know what I mean. This is a perfect place for all these snobby people to look down on people sitting in bus stations and be like, "Oh, look at those peasants." That's what I feel like goes on in Orange County. Orange County is the Broward of Miami, of LA. This is a great place. I think you should definitely move here. Just look down at those people sitting in the bus station. Who cares if we're $50,000 in debt for a car? At least we get to look down on people. Coming in at number 2. Now this. Oh, you're gonna like this one. We have Harris County, Texas, home to the fourth largest city in America, Houston. But Um, this place, if you like a big city and you still like watching people suffer and sit at bus stations and you're a snob like that, oh, do I have the big city for you? Houston. Oh, this place is insane. It has the largest freeway in America. I mean, what can get better than that? Driving your car everywhere. Um, I will note in terms of public transportation, there actually is 3 light rail lines, as you can tell here. Um, do note there's not an underground station in Houston, which that's good. Everything needs to be just light rail, because light rail isn't as good as having a metro, if you don't know. But um, an important thing to note about this light rail is it really doesn't go that much. Let's take a look at the city. This is the city boundaries of Houston. This is where the light rail goes. It really doesn't serve all that much. Even though there's 3 light rail lines. Um, you have to know this is one of the biggest cities in America, and those light rail lines are really like having, let's say, if you have the city of Seattle, for example. It's like having like a 2 stations. This is good, and there's no light rail that takes you to the airport either, which is even better because we want people to suffer when they go out to travel. Only a bus, and the bus shelter for Houston is like any other bus station, which that's amazing. You just gotta have that warm welcome for people who don't have cars. They just go sit in an airport, um, uh, at an average bus station. That is such a warm welcome to a city. I will say though, the one positive of Houston, I don't know why I'm bringing this up because I've known people down there. They actually say it's quite friendly, so that's a positive because some places aren't. And number 1, for number 1, we're going back to the LA area to Riverside County, Oh man, this place is amazing. So there is still a commuter rail line, just like Orange County, that comes here, but there's less. There's less of a presence. I mean, this is the only part, Riverside, California. So don't move here. The city that you would want to move to in this county, if you just want to watch some people suffer, you're like me, right? It would be I'll show you where. Palm Springs, this place. Look at all of that. Look at all these suburbs. Oh my goodness. This is my type of place. Look at this. This is the city. This is the county for the top 10, of course. Um this is a place. I mean, it doesn't get better than this. Right by LA. You can drive your car 2-3 hours to LA and with all that traffic. That's amazing. All right, on a serious note, I just actually wanted to bring awareness to how, even though, people say, oh, the bigger cities or even the more liberal states in America have better transportation, um, people will say that, but I just wanted to bring awareness to the fact that that's not true. I mean, I believe every county I mentioned here is votes liberal. Um, but even with that, a lot of them has bad public transportation. Again, the county I live in, Broward County, has horrible public transportation, and we voted 64% for Biden in the last election. Now, if you don't know, Broward's the 17th most populated county in America, which that says a lot. And we're one of the biggest metros, but we don't even have a bus shelter for our bus station at our airport. It's unbelievable. I just want to bring awareness to the fact that even conservative states like Dallas, for example, don't do transportation that bad. People in Dallas, I know, complain about it a lot, but there's far worse. I just want to bring awareness to the fact that public public transportation is a group effort, and it is not completely a partisan issue, even though mostly it is to an extent. But I believe this is just raising more awareness to the fact that we need better public transportation in America. And for the last, for number one, two, all the top tens, those are places I never recommend anybody to live in. Don't buy a car. Just don't. There are places you can move to where you don't need a car. And it'll be far cheaper for you and far less of an expense. In America, like New York, Chicago, maybe even LA. I mean, LA is not as great, but there are much smaller cities that would be better than LA. Like, as I said in the past, you could probably move to Seattle, from what I hear, has good public transportation, um, or Boston, or Minneapolis, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, um, that's pretty much it.